Well, a few years ago, Bob and I could have danced all night, but those years are long gone. Pull that microphone right up next to you there, Bob Farley. There you,
How's that, Larry
that
Larson?
sounds very
You
good.
doing good?
Bob Farley here from Georgia Ensemble Theater, and boy, lots of exciting things going on. I want to kind of get right to it. First of all, I can't believe 22 years. That we are now 22 years down the road since the founding of Georgia Ensemble.
Yeah, I can't believe it either, Larry.
It goes fast, doesn't it?
It kind of does.
It
yeah.
doesn't seem like it at the time, but boy, when you look back, I would have never thought that it's been 22 years
Well,
since
and you know, it took almost 2 decades to kind of position the theater where we went, we think this can be a success story now. And our past couple of years have been really good. And big audiences, so but it we're out in the burbs.
Well,
so
I always said Jim
Yeah.
Peck and I talked, the actor, playwright, old friend of both of ours, and even like back 10, 15 years ago, I said, you know what, the future of theater, of the growth of theater in this city is going to be outside the perimeter, and Georgia Ensemble, Aurora Theater. The fact that they're out where the audiences are, and
Aurora's done really well too.
so anyway, let's get to it. Right now,
Right.
My Fair Lady is going on. You want to just talk a little about that because you've got another week and a half.
Yeah, it's
to
been
go?
great. We're just starting our second week of a 3-week run. We'll be doing My Fair Lady at Georgia Ensemble Theater through April 26th, and it's a huge hit. It's an exquisite production, great costumes,
Great people.
beautiful lighting, scenery, and the cast is just impeccable.
And one of my
really
favorite,
great.
if not my favorite musical of all time, and I like Pygmalion too. I like the play very
Well,
much.
I
as
get to
well.
greet the audience every night, and I just tell them, we're about to share in some of the greatest music ever written for the Broadway stage. Ever.
Absolutely.
It's one hit after another. It's amazing.
Yeah,
Love it.
You can recognize, and they went on to be hits on the radio
On
too.
their own.
Yep, it was great.
They're great to sing in the shower.
So tell people first of all how they can come out and see. It's at the Roswell Cultural Arts
we're
Center.
out. Georgia Ensemble Theater's home is at the Roswell Cultural Arts Center. You can get tickets online, get.org, or you can call us at 770-641-1260.
And now the scoop. I get to do the scoop on the radio now.
What's the scoop?
The scoop is that you're going to talk a lot about the upcoming season.
Oh, yeah. I can't wait. I'm
Here
really
it is,
jazzed.
folks. You want to
Well-
start with the... You told me about this, I
Well-
think, a few months back. Calendar Girls.
Calendar Girls. We're very, very fortunate. 3 of the 5 shows we're doing next season. I wish I could say it was by design. It's an accident, but we are just thrilled. 3 of the 5 shows you'll only be able to see at Georgia Ensemble. You can't see it at the Fox or the Cobb Energy Center. We're very, very fortunate.
And these are shows that have been successful in other venues, including Broadway and across.
Calendar Girls has not been in America very much. It was the fastest selling show in the history of London's West End when it opened back in 2012, maybe before that, 2010. My partner, Anita, we saw the show in London.
Oh.
It's based on the 2003 film with Julie Waters and Helen Mirren. And I remember walking up the aisle of the Noel Coward Theater with Anita, and she said, "We're going to do this show." And I laughed. I went, "We'll never get this. We'll never get
Never
this."
get the rights.
For 5 years, she had the tenacity to pursue the rights to the show. And Calendar Girls is an extraordinary story. It's very, very funny. It's very healing and empowering. And it's about women in a women's club who try to raise money for a local cancer center. And to do that, they pose nude for a 12-month calendar. And it's
Somewhat. Well, they're, yeah. But we
Well,
don't want to give away this fact.
you'll have the opportunity to use your imagination.
And that's September 10th.
We open September 10th. It's the first show we've ever selected. Normally we would run 3 weeks. This show will run a solid month.
Yeah,
We're going to run for 4
I
weeks.
think that's a good idea. Then following that, Romeo and Juliet. That's great. Why bring Shakespeare back?
Well, for us, it's not bringing it back. It'll be the first time. We've never done
Yeah, I mean-
Shakespeare.
oh, really?
And
That's right. Man.
it was a no-brainer in one way, but there's a reason we're doing it as well. The greatest writer who ever lived, the greatest love story ever written, and I'm working with a great director and a great team. They're going to bring a bold new approach to the show. I'm really excited about. But what concerned me is, as a citizen of Atlanta and in this arts community, was that with Georgia Shakespeare gone, we only, we're supposed to be an international growing city being acknowledged for our arts offerings. And the Shakespeare Tavern is great. It's great. I love what they do, and they really provide a great service. But I think we all got to get in there and keep the work of this writer.
Yeah, well, the
vital and
Alliance, you know,
alive.
the Alliance used to do a Shakespeare play every
remember.
spring, and then we would take it over to Piedmont Park to the Arts Festival, and that was a regular thing, and that hasn't been done for years
No, I
and
remember
years. and
that,
years.
yeah.
Let's move on to what some might call it an old chestnut, but it hasn't been done. It's kind of a new play for a lot of audience members. Charlie's Aunt.
Charlie's Aunt. You know, it was written in 1892, but don't be deceived by that. It's outrageously funny. I think one of the great farces of all time. It is, Tootsie and Mrs. Doubtfire. They all came out of Charlie's Aunt, and to me, for anybody who knows him, he kind of works selectively, I guess. But one of my favorite comic actors in Atlanta is Hugh Adams.
Yeah.
And there's nothing funnier to me than Hugh Adams in a dress. I mean, he's riotously funny. And we always like to pick something. That's in our January slot.
Yes.
That'll start us off for 2016. And I always like to kind of provide something to kind of lift people out of the post-holiday blues and doldrums. And
Right.
this is going to do it. So,
Great. Peter and the Starcatcher follows that, and that's had great press. And I don't believe that's been done in Atlanta.
We've got the exclusive Georgia premiere to Peter and the Starcatcher. It was a massive Broadway hit, just recently closed, won 5 Tony Awards. And Peter and the Starcatcher, kind of put simply, is the sort of a grown-up prequel to Peter Pan. And it's how this lost boy became Peter Pan and how the villain in the piece became Captain Hook.
Captain Hook.
And to me, this is one of the most magical pieces of theater I've ever experienced. And it reminds me, I've been doing this for over 40 years, and it reminds me as a child why I went into a theater in the first place. Not only to sit in the audience, but why I ultimately ended up doing work on stage. It just calls on the imagination and the vividness of its storytelling. It's kind of based on story theater that it's extraordinary. I've never seen anything quite like it.
Can't wait.
We're very fortunate to have it.
Talking with Bob Farley from Georgia Ensemble Theater about their upcoming season. It's so far very exciting, very eclectic season coming up at Georgia Ensemble. And we're going to conclude, before we give ticket information, subscription information about something near and dear to my heart. Listeners know, if they've been listening for the last 10 years, that my favorite group of all time is the Beatles. And Yesterday and Today is coming to Georgia Ensemble Theater. Talk a little about this final show.
Yesterday, well, you may try to stake this claim, but I am actually the biggest Beatles fan
No,
in
I'm the biggest
the
Beatles
world. I saw them in 1965.
And you saw Paul
in St.
McCartney,
Louis.
and I remember you were stunned. You weren't able to get out of bed for like 2 or 3 days.
It was like, I saw him in Piedmont Park in 2009.
Yeah.
It was
Anyway,
pretty
this is not the love show in Las Vegas. This is not impersonations, right?
No, it's not. No, it's a great bunch of guys out of 4 brothers out of Omaha, Nebraska. I've seen this show. It's called Yesterday and Today, and it's an extraordinary experience. These guys know the entire Beatles catalog. They cannot be stumped. And when you come into the theater each night, in the lobby, you'll see a table and some cards and some pens, and you, Larry Larson, and anybody else get to come in and request a song that the Beatles wrote. But you also have to tell us why you're requesting it. And so it might be about a loved one or someone you've lost or a first kiss or the first time you heard that song.
Or maybe the first time I
where you were.
played that song in my teenage band at a pizza party in a basement.
Exactly. Or the first time you heard Revolver in your basement. And really it's kind of the way the show comes off with these guys, and they're incredible musicians, but the way it comes off is kind of the soundtrack of our lives that very night in performance. So no 2 performances are the same. They're completely different.
Oh, that's great. Talk about audience participation.
Oh, it's really, really amazing.
Well, Bob, this sounds like a great season coming up, and I'm urging people to go ahead and get a subscription. You want to talk a little about that?
That'd be pretty smart. We have about 3,000 subscribers at Georgia Ensemble, but we always hold the best seats in the house in the center section for them. And I think we're one of the best values in Atlanta for a professional theater. It's not that expensive to come to us and experience all 5 shows. And you can do that by You can order online at get.org, or you can call us at 770-641-1260.
And folks, I wouldn't wait on calendar girls. I would not. Just have a feeling seats are going to be at a premium for that show.
It's already doing pretty well.
Yeah,
so.
I'm sure it is. So, in honor of yesterday and today, and we are in the midst of the cubicle dance, I'm going to. I asked Bob what might be a song to go out of the Beatles catalog, and he suggested perhaps a song that they start with in the play. And one of my favorites, by the way, kind of a late Beatles tune when they were on Strawberry Fields, and those songs were coming out, not early Beatles, but later Beatles that were a little more sophisticated, and one of my favorites. We're going to dance this morning to Paperback Writer, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bob Farley for coming in. Sounds like a great season. Here we go.